talk like that.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. We're so happy to have you with us. We've been gone for a little bit. A lot's been going on. We'll be sure to tell you about it. But right now, if this is your first time, please
hit the subscribe, like button, and the bell notification to stay tuned for all the content that we release.
Obviously, you know, we got married, as you can see. So much has been going on since November. I got a promotion, which actually had us relocate out of the state. We're now in Florida, sunny Florida. You can't tell because we're both wearing sweats. But so much has been going on. It's been a great journey so far. We spent the holidays with our amazing families, got to see some of our friends in our new home here in Florida. And, you know, we're just trying to adapt to our new environment, which also kind of created a new situation for us.
Yeah. So here we are. We're happy to give you guys an update. We thought that we would just come on and do a quick Q&A to bring you guys back up to speed on what's been going on with us. Also, and to update you on IVF, because we know that we left a gap. Sorry about that. Life has happened, but we just wanted to come back and tell you guys what's been going on, and we thought doing that through like a Q&A would probably be the best bet.
Right.
So let's get started.
Yeah.
So the last time that we came and talked to you guys, or I came and talked to you guys about our journey, we were in Atlanta, of course, and we had a clinic there that we were going to. And we just decided that after 2 times of treatment with that clinic, that it was time to switch and go to a new clinic. You know, the doctor that we had in Atlanta was very nice, very kind, but I just felt like personally that his protocols and procedures were a little antiquated. So I'm not sure if anyone in this IVF journey has heard of a clinic in Syracuse. They have a couple of different locations, but where we're now going, we are a patient of Dr. Robert Kiltz, and I could not be more excited about that.
Eat meat.
Yes, if you know anything about Dr. Kiltz, you know that he is really an advocate about the keto diet. And that's one of the reasons why we switched, was not because of keto, but he approaches fertility from a more holistic point of view. So he's not just talking to you about medications that you're taking, you know, things like that. He wants you to start preparing for fertility before you even start taking your shot. So
Mind,
it's
body and soul.
Yeah. So it's about, you know, preparing your body with the right diet, with supplements. And then he even treats you for, like, you know, keeping your immune system calm so that it's not causing inflammation in the body. He feels like inflammation is kind of the root of all evil, which I do agree with, you know, him on that wholeheartedly. So in addition to taking vitamins, I'm taking, you know, I'll be taking medications like prednisone, Benadryl, a Z-Pak, which is an antibiotic, to prepare. And then that will happen, you know, during stimulation meds. And then when you get to transfer, he also has you take medications that help with like organ transplants. So it's supposed to help not attack the embryo. Right. I'll get into maybe another video a little bit more into like the details of my protocol, but I'm very excited about some fresh perspective. You know, we had our consultation with Dr. Kiltz. We had it the day before our honeymoon, and he prayed with us on the phone. He's just a very spiritual man. So we're really happy to be working with CNY on our next round of IVF.
Absolutely. Along our journey, we've got quite a few questions from some friends, some family, and even some in the comments. So we decided this would be a great opportunity to do a Q&A. I'll start off with the first question. Why are we choosing to do IVF?
If you see me looking at my phone, it's because I'm looking at questions. So I'll tell you a little bit about our story. If you're new here, I'll give you the condensed version. You know, we've been trying to conceive probably now for at least 3 years, I would say. And we just haven't had any luck with it naturally. I'm now 42, and Talashi is the same age as me. And
34.
No, you're not. We're both 42. So yeah, it's just harder when you get older. You know, that we have no diagnosis other than that. I do have fibroids, but they're not in the way of anything. At least that's what the doctors are telling me, that they shouldn't be causing a problem, but I've never been pregnant before. So they're really just boiling it down to age, and your fertility really does change drastically after you hit age 40, like every month, literally. So that's why we're here. Next question. This is for Talashi. The next question that we have is, how long do you determine to try for IVF?
That's a tough one. I think it's there's a lot of variables to it. So it's mostly, number one, obviously about communication. For us, I would say, like, I'm very conscious of what you have to go through, your body has to go through. And then also financially, like, this is not something that is, easily done just at the wink of an eye, This takes quite a it takes quite a bit of a considerable. There you go, considerable. I can't talk. It takes a bit of whatever. It takes a bit to really, what was I trying to say?
Money.
Yeah, it costs a lot.
He's new to vlogging.
It costs a lot, so it's a considerable amount. There you go. It's a considerable amount, and this the frequency of doing it. It's very taxing on her body, especially like the medicine, the shots, and
the preparation.
And it's also mentally stressful. Like, sometimes that's all you may talk about, and there's other things that go on in your relationship, whether it's work, family, friendship, and you kind of have to find that balance to make sure that you're not, that you're staying engaged in the conversation, but not overthinking some things, and kind of just making sure you're able to live in the moment while going through a different experience that some people may have. But ultimately, it depends on communication. You have to communicate with your partner, get an idea of how often how many times you want to do this, and ultimately, the goal is to become parents. So have those conversations. It's going to be difficult. There's some conversations that you're like, I remember at first I was like, nah, I'm not there. But it takes some time, and I grew to it, and it's one of those things that you have to kind of go into things with an open mind, and try to understand as much as you can from your partner.
Yeah, and I think educating yourself is really important here. It's a lot of science, and a lot of people sometimes feel like that might be playing God or interfering too much. But ultimately, the decision is yours, and if the end goal is to be a parent, sometimes the journey of how you get there is not as important. But there are a lot of people that would not be parents without IVF. So I'm thankful for it. We're thankful for it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know if we have like a number. This will be our third attempt at it, and I haven't had enough yet. So we're still going.
She's tapping it in my Porsche fund, so.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of sacrifices we have to make. Like, travel, everything kind of is put on hold when you're cycling through an IVF cycle, because everything is all about timing.
Right.
So you really have to, in your mind, clear off your schedule and make time for it. Otherwise, it's always going to be inconvenient,
Absolutely. There's always something going on.
Yeah, always.
Another great question that we got is, are you ashamed of going through IVF? Do you share these experiences with your community, like your friends, family, social media, so on and so forth?
So I have kept the sharing of IVF through close friends, family, some family, and YouTube, really. I have not put it out there like very blatantly yet on Instagram, but I'm going to. I do think that you always have this fear of being judged, or, being ashamed, or even people saying, why are you sharing this online? It should be to yourself. But one thing I've learned, even in making this YouTube channel, the reason I started it was because when we first started IVF, like, this is how I felt comfortable. It was the sense of the community that I found there, watching other people's stories, listening to their journeys, and it's raw and uncut. There's no makeup, there's no glam, it's tears, it's, joy. I was watching someone's channel. I've been keeping up with her. I can put her channel up here. If you're going through IVF, she's great to watch. She's been through it several times. It's Kelsey's Life.
The lady in the bathroom.
It's Kelsey's Life. And I watched her journey from the very beginning until the time she had her baby. And like, she put her birth story up there, and I cried with her when she was giving birth, because, you get connected to people, and it's helpful, like, people reach out to me, asking me questions, sharing their stories. And I've really found that to be the most valuable part of sharing the story, is how you can help someone else by sharing. So I will eventually share on Instagram. I guess the Virgo in me is trying to make it perfect, or I'm probably in the back of my head trying to wait until we are pregnant and have our birth story. But sometimes like that's not the part that people want to see. They want to see the part where you haven't gotten there yet. So me personally, that's how I've shared. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and so that helps also. If you're not comfortable sharing online or you don't have anyone to talk to, find a Facebook group attached to the clinic. CNY has dozens of Facebook groups, whether you're a woman of color going to CNY or you're using donor eggs or you're over 40. So I have met like some really good people in those groups. And you know, that gives you a place to talk to people on the day to day. Like we talk like, hey, I went to my baseline appointment today and this is what happened. What do you think? So me personally, that's how I feel about it. I'm not ashamed of it. I just have to get out of my own way with putting it out there on Instagram. I don't know what I'm afraid of, but what about you?
So I follow your lead when it comes to going public with it. I share with, you know, a small group of friends of some of the things we go through.
Yeah.
However, from a male perspective, not necessarily mine, but some of the people I've come across, there's a certain stigma of like maybe embarrassment, especially if it's maybe a male factor in infertility.
Yeah.
To where like, you know, you're not the man you're supposed to be because you couldn't create a baby or so on and so forth. So I haven't really had the opportunity to like reach out to anybody in those groups, but I have come across a friend of mine who literally in the middle of a club, music super loud, we're talking about certain things, and we landed on that him and his wife and we're going through IVF, and they had been through it quite a few times.
Like 10 times, right?
Like we see him out and we've never discussed this, and he, you know, he's like, man, it's so hard going through this and seeing her and doing this. So it was like an immediate bond about this conversation. So I think it's important at some point for especially men to find, you know, someone that they can talk to about it, because it's not always easy. You don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't know the female body. You don't know what she has to go through.
Yeah.
But it's important for you to kind of try to understand, and then also get as much information about yourself and about the process of IVF. That's where I think it's really, really important. But as far as sharing it, like I share what she shares. You know, I'm supportive in all of her posts, and 9 times out of 10, I try not to be in video just because I hate it. But I think, you know, like it's important, and I think it's amazing to see how she's connected with people on Facebook. Different people around the world, women who are able to share their stories, especially if their partners aren't supportive, or they don't have somebody to talk to, or if they don't want to, you know, have the same conversation with their partner all the time, because sometimes it gets a little mundane. So it's like, okay, we got to talk about IVF stuff again. But you know, it's a great outlet. So I suggest reaching out to someone. There's always somebody who's willing to listen. And one thing I am conscious of is speaking on it before, you know, anything happens, because like I'm very kind of superstitious in that way. Like I like talk about things until I know it's going to happen. But also I just don't like people really speaking on it. Like, oh, well, why are you guys doing that? You guys are young. Like people obviously think we're in our 30s and like, oh, you guys are young. You don't need to do that. Just keep going at it. Or like, thanks. We haven't been trying. Appreciate that. So, you know, sometimes you gotta, you know, kind of drown out the noise sometimes. So and like Talashi said, you know, sometimes knowledge is power, and inviting people in to comment on that, you know, it's been anywhere from family members to friends, close friends, to strangers that will say the most outrageous things. I mean, you would be surprised. I'll probably do a video on what not to say to someone going through IVF, and they don't mean harm, but they just haven't been through it, so they don't know what to say. Right.
So yeah, I've been actually trying to encourage Talashi to start some kind of a men's roundtable discussion about this, because, you know, he talked about it being very hard for men, but also Black men, you know. I feel like there needs to be some support in talking about fertility and health and how to, you know, think about your fertility as a man when you're young. It's not just, you know, like we hear all these stories of babies being made of Hennessy in a late night. But when you get older, like it's not like that, you know? I wish it was that easy, but Black men need support in general.
Don't drink Hennessy.
But we don't drink Hennessy. Shameless plug here.
No, it's not. We don't drink Hennessy. We drink
Martell.
There you go.
Just want to make sure you know that. But I don't drink right now. But that's the thing. Like Black men need support through this as well. All men need support. All women need support. But specifically, Black men and Black women need even more support through this, through the navigating the medical situation, making sure you're getting adequate care and things like that. So yeah, I'm trying to encourage Talashi to start something for men, infertility, Black men. We'll see.
Stay tuned.
Okay, this next question is for you. So someone asked, what ways can men support their partner through IVF, since you guys are not taking the shots and experiencing the feelings of it?
Goes back to what I said earlier. Communicate. Try to engage as much as possible. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's difficult sometimes, like just because it's not happening to our body.
Yeah.
And you have to sometimes remind yourself, like, hey, is there anything I can do? Or remind them of their schedule. It may be annoying, like, because you already know your own schedule. Be like, hey, it's 9 o'clock. Did you take your medicine? Or so on and so forth.
But that helps a lot.
It's just our way of kind of really trying to stay engaged in the process, and be a listening ear. Like, you have to understand that there's a lot of changes going on within your body, and sometimes you just want to talk about things. It could be the same conversation, a couple days in a row, but it's one of those things that it's a necessary evil, so to speak, to really become parents. Because at the end of the day, like, when you have a 2-year-old toddler screaming the annoying conversation over and over again about when you need to book a flight to Syracuse, it's not going to mean that much. So I think it's you have to make sure that you're living in the moment and being present. Like, whatever your faith is, if you guys are praying for a positive outcome, praying for health, and just making sure that you are the best wingman possible, whether it's getting the right foods, cooking the right foods, taking a little bit off of her plate, whether it's having to wash dishes or something like that, or
favorite chore that you do not like to do.
Having to wash dishes or something.
He's been doing so much better, I notice, and I really appreciate it.
We're gonna save this just in case we get in an argument later, and I'm gonna be like, listen, run that back. How long are we into this? Run it back to that point, because I'll be like, you said I was doing a lot of dishes. So, it's about balance. Like, you have to look at it as everything in your relationship. You guys are not competing. You're teammates. You're there to support each other. From what my understanding is, it's about service. You want to serve each other as much as possible, and kind of really get an understanding of what somebody needs, in order for them to be happy and comfortable, and also yourself. But most importantly, I think, is promoting self-care. There's times where she needs to just have a break, or, massage or meditate or yoga, whatever that may be. If I'm able to promote it, get it for her, and help her get to a place where she's able to feel comfortable and have self-care, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's helpful because, when you're going through IVF, you're working at the same time, and not only are you keeping up with life and everything else you have on your plate, but now you have this crazy schedule of medications that you have to take, and it's doctor's appointments every couple of days. And those doctor's appointments are most likely going to be before 8:30 in the morning, before you even start your work day. So, there have been times where I've gotten bad news early in the morning, and I still have to go on and attend meetings and, conduct calls throughout the day. Like, you don't get a break sometimes. So, what I found the most helpful, from Talashi is the reminders, because I'm a very organized person, but things slip through the cracks when you have too much on your plate, helping out with like chores, like he was saying, like the dishes, the things that I tend to do all the time on a routine. Like when I do, our dishes are clean because of me. Okay. Anyway, but he has helped out a lot more. So that might mean that that's one less thing that I have to think about, or one, less thing that we have to do, or that I have to like factor into my day, because you have so much to keep track of. So just having your partner there to like support you emotionally, and even like, there's a balance too with optimism. I really always appreciate like how optimistic Talashi is in situations, because I tend to be a little pessimistic when it comes to some things. But like, one thing I would suggest, as the man or the partner in this, is if your mate is telling you that they're worried about something, like for example, my egg quality and my egg count diminishes every month, like there might be people that are overly optimistic. Oh, another month of waiting for IVF is not going to hurt. Well, it might hurt, like that's kind of what happened to me recently with, my current baselines. Get into that more later. But, I had less follicles this time at baselines than I did the last time. So, in supporting your partner through that, like it meaning something to them, whatever they're dealing with that they are having to struggle with, like, you just want to acknowledge that you hear them. I hear what you're saying. I understand how this affects you. And I think that, we should do whatever it takes to optimize the situation based on what you've learned today, because we're the ones going to the doctor every day.
Right.
We hear the news from the doctors and all the scientific information, and it's not wrapped in religion and faith and hope and all of that. And so there is a fine balance between, being too tight with the science and, being all into the overly optimistic thing when it comes to religion. And so there has to be a balance. My faith is what gives me the strength to keep moving forward in this, but the science is also what kind of brings me to reality with things. Like, I know I don't have till I'm 46 to figure this out, and if I know that my egg count is dropping every month, then, you want your mate to support you in that and be like, you know what, let's just do it. And that's what Talashi does for me. So
a negative Nancy can't always sit next to a positive Patty.
No.
Like, I'm super positive, and I try not to let negative light anywhere around me. But, with her, sometimes she's just, a worry, and she wants to think through everything or be overcritical. And, sometimes I have to let her do that, because that's her comfort zone. If I pull her out of that, that's not gonna help her anyway. So I could listen to it and kind of say, from my perspective, this is where I would probably focus on, but I can't tell her how to feel.
Yeah.
No one could tell anyone how to feel. We have to acknowledge their feelings and, try to move forward.
Yeah, and then, a lot of times, like, it's not necessarily that I'm being negative. It's just that I have the facts from the doctors, from other people that have gone through it. And, when you're tied to it that way and your doctor is telling you, I really think you should optimize this time that you have. You've been preparing your body. You've been doing this. I haven't really been drinking that much for the past, couple of months or so. And, like, you want to be supported in going to your mate and being like, hey, I think we should just do this. No matter what trip is coming up, we have to go ahead and take advantage of this time, based on this information that I have. So it's all about balance, like, you gotta, like you said, you have to support your mate in what they're going through and feeling acknowledged, because a lot of the Facebook groups and stuff, I hear a lot of stories of women saying that their husbands are not supportive. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, they don't take it serious. They don't, help. They just want to cut things off, and they're not that involved. And that makes me really sad for them, because it's almost like a missed opportunity in life, that you have to be a parent just because of someone's like lack of being educated about the situation, or just not listening to your mate. Like, what hurts in my body, I'm only the one feeling that. Nobody else feels that. If I'm saying that, I have this aching earache, and someone's telling me, oh, it's not a big deal. How? It's not fair to say that if it's bothering me. So
I think another thing is it doesn't solve any problems by pointing fingers at, like, if it's a male factor in infertility, if it's the female factor in infertility, it doesn't help by saying, well, it's not my problem, it's yours, you got to figure it out. Or, you got to do it, because you're in it together. You both want to be parents, you're in it together. And that's just a recipe for disaster, I would say. Like,
I agree.
I don't think it's, like, to me, I don't really care who's the factor. We just got to figure it out, whether it's me, whether it's her, or whatever. we got to figure it out, and we got to make sure our bodies are
Yeah.
at the optimal point when we need to be. So
Yeah, and that's a great point to make, because a lot of infertility diagnoses are unexplained infertility. And to me, that's BS, because like, at least if you know like what the issue is, you can work on it and try to fix it. But if you don't know what the issue is, then it's harder to figure out like which approach to take, you know? And for us, you know, that was our diagnosis, was unexplained infertility, you know? And like, for me, it's just age of my eggs. You know, we don't have male factor, which is a blessing. But Talashi still does things to prepare his body. Like, you know, he's cut back tremendously on alcohol. He's been exercising some. And he takes supplements for male fertility, even though he's good. So that's the other thing. I think you have to be very humble in this situation. You can't come into it with any ego. Like, you know, I'm good, I don't have a problem, I don't have to do anything. That doesn't work, you know? So that's another part, I think, of support is, hey, I'm gonna do this with you. You know, we're gonna both eat healthy. We're gonna both, like, you know, exercise even a little bit. So when you see the red light, that's when it's recording.
It's my first day recording. So we got some fun questions, I think.
Yeah. Lighten the mood.
A little bit less or more light in the mood or something like that, whatever you want to say.
What I say.
So how many kids do you want?
Me personally, I would like 2 kids. If we're blessed to just have one, I'd be okay with that, but I would like to have 2.
Twins or bag to bite?
I'm okay with twins. I don't know. I mean, I don't prefer twins just because mentally I think it's gonna be like going from 0 to 360, but at least we would get it out of the way. That's the only reason why I want twins, is to get it out of the way. I don't want twins because of the potential complications you can have in pregnancy with twins, and with me being older, I'm already high risk. So I'm open to twins. If it happens and God wants us to have twins, then we'll have twins. But if we didn't have twins, I would want 2 kids back to back, like Irish twins. What about you? How many kids?
13.
I ain't got that many eggs.
Nah, I really don't care. I'm cool with 1. I'm cool with 1. If we get 2, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But it really, to me, it really depends on you and your body and how things go. Like, if we're able to have 1 and you're comfortable going back in, or if we don't have twins, I'm cool.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, the next question is, do you have a preference, boy or girl? I know what you're gonna say.
So if we had twins, I would want a boy and a girl in a perfect world. However, I'm probably a little bit more partial to a girl.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I mean, my nieces. I've always been really close to my oldest niece.
Yeah.
And you know, I just have like this really great relationship with you know, the girl toddler kids and family friends and stuff like that.
They love him.
That they're just like, you know, we have a great connection. So I think that's it. And plus, you know, like, I don't want somebody thinking he's cooler than me. You're gonna have to try. He's gonna wear my sneakers and stuff. Nah.
I can't wait to make that video one day. We have a boy. If you guys could see his shoe collection, I'll show you one day.
No.
Maybe I won't, for safety reasons. But yeah, if we had a boy, it would literally be his copy paste. He'd want to do everything like Talashi. I know it. He'd be like, "Where are my Jordans? You bought some?" But he's gonna buy him some. He's gonna make him his copy paste.
What about you?
I don't care. I don't have a preference. I just want a healthy baby. I think my perspective on this is just getting a human being out safely in the world. I mean, I don't know about every woman, but I do want a little mini me, you know, someone that I can like do all the girly things with and stuff. But I love boys. I'm very close to my nephews. So I don't really care either way. I just want a healthy baby.
Right.
Okay. Next question. Who is going to be the stricter parent? Definitely me. They are going to walk all over him.
I feel sorry for them kids, boy.
It's going to be me.
You're going to have to be home by 9:30.
Yes, no PlayStation until you've done all your chores and your homework.
Nah, I think
no PlayStation or sports till you do everything.
I'm definitely a disciplinarian, but
yeah,
I am.
Especially if we have a boy. Are you kidding me?
Relaxed.
You're gonna be hard on the boy.
It's very much like it's about manners and respect.
Yeah.
And then you're free to do what you need to do.
Right. Right.
Once you get those things in order.
Yeah.
Schoolwork done. You got good grades. You don't like talk back. Rock out.
That's how we were raised, you know. I think we both were raised in families that did not tolerate, you know, kids being like, I don't know. I think growing up, I felt like my siblings and I kind of fit into my parents' life. I don't know if you felt like that, where we didn't take over everything that they did. I mean, they were very much like family parents, but we had to have very good manners. That was not tolerated, you know. And me personally, I don't have the patience for that, and I know he doesn't either. So
yeah, no, like there was rules in our house. So
yeah, there's rules.
I couldn't touch a ball unless I had a 3.0.
Yeah.
And then like I didn't have the opportunity to play PlayStation during school week. Unheard of. You don't. And like my dad was one of the people. He would like tell you something, and you just did it. Like he didn't. Like if I had the Nintendo sticks, I would be able to get them out of his drawer in his room at 4 p.m. on a Friday. Sunday by 6 o'clock sundown.
Check them in.
Like he's not gonna come get them. You literally have to wrap it up and put it in his drawer by 6 o'clock. Otherwise, you'll have the wrath coming for you. So like it was never one of those things where like I don't even think I got really spanked. It was one of those things just like I say what it is and that's how it goes. So
yeah,
you know,
I think you'll be a lot like your dad when it comes to that too.
Probably.
I just think that, you know, for us, you know, I notice a lot of kids in the world with all these like attached to their tablets, attached to their PlayStations, and they have such like bad tempers, like ADHD, they can't focus on things, and people have gotten away a lot from like just doing like going outside and playing, doing like fundamental things. And I think we both kind of agree on that there will be minimal screen time when we have kids.
The funny part is save this right now,
we'll see
and
what
then wait
happens
for
when
like
they
4
come.
years when we have a screaming toddler who is attached to their iPad 19, has a cell phone at the age of 3.
We'll see how this changes.
And a MacBook Pro at the age of 5 and is wanting to watch Metaverse by then. Who knows?
Because mommy is very much into gadgets. I might not have fancy handbags, but I have nice equipment. You know, I'm all about cameras, gadgets, and all those things. So.
And we're on a new camera today.
We are. Do you like it? Okay. All right, next question. Let's see. Are you planning to find out the sex of the baby or baby's birth before they're born?
No, I don't want to.
No, we're not.
I think like the great part of this science is, you know, we're able to help achieve having a baby, and we want to keep some things a little special. And by not knowing the sex, that's, you know, is our way of kind of keeping ourselves grounded in the science, because, you know, within science, you could do pretty much anything you wanted to. So, you know, that's my perspective on it. I really don't want to know the sex until the baby's here. So the baby's nursery will be gray or something like that.
Not gray. Neutral,
it'll be boho glam.
It will be boho chic.
Boho glam.
But yeah, no, I agree with Talashi. IVF like robs you of a lot of surprises. It robs you of the surprise of randomly finding out that you're pregnant. Robs you of, you know, like knowing.
I wouldn't say rob.
It doesn't rob, but it definitely takes that away a little bit.
Yeah.
And you also get the opportunity to find the sex of the baby out like as soon as the embryo is like 2 weeks old. So for a lot of people, that's such a blessing, because some people do gender selection based on that. Like if they know that they have a certain amount of boys or girls in their family they call it like family planning and family completion. They might only want a boy or a girl. So, you know, in IVF, you don't have as many surprises. And so we thought that, you know, waiting until the baby's born, unless it's twins, and then we're going to find out, because I have to plan. I got to plan all the outfits. For 2 babies, that's rough. But yeah, at first I wasn't on board with that. I'm not gonna lie, because I like to plan. I wanted to have a pink or a blue or a green nursery, but then good old Pinterest showed me some beautiful gender neutral nurseries. But you know, it will be nice to have such a great surprise when the baby's born, to be like, oh wow, it's little miss or little mister, whatever. I think that will be such a blessing.
Right. Next
Question. All right. This next question is around mental health. What are some ways that you maintain your mental health during IVF?
Well, it's different. Like, since we've moved here, normally like my balance is, you know, going outside, being athletic, playing soccer, and being able to run and kind of, you know, use that energy in a positive way. But since we moved here, I haven't found anybody to play soccer. So if you're in the Orlando area and you're watching this video and you need a soccer player, let me know. I'm old though, bad knees and a messed up Achilles.
42.
But I'm 34, I told you that. But I think the greatest thing when it comes to mental health is being able to just recognize there's times when you just need a moment to yourself.
Yeah.
And she'll know, like, I'll stay up in my office, aka sneaker room, aka game room, aka men's room, and just kind of veg out there, whether it's watching TV, whether it's being on the internet, whether it's playing PlayStation, and for no reason, and just kind of blah, you know, like that helps me kind of balance myself and balance my thoughts. Being that I do work in the bev, wine and spirits business, I don't tend to really like drink at home.
No, we
it's
don't
kind
really
of
drink at home.
It's not something I'm against. It's just kind of my balance, because there's
wine.
so much easy access to things. So I prefer to be a little bit more physical, go run. Like, there's days I'll just go outside and go hit 3 miles or bike for like a good 6, 7, 8 miles or so. I think that's what does it for me. I just, that's the way I grew up, and being active is a way for me to kind of get closer to the elements of the earth, like the wind, the sun, all the other stuff, and that kind of like really creates a good chemical balance with my body. So I feel a little bit better about whatever's going on, and it gives me some time to process things.
Yeah, that's good. For me personally, I did things a little bit differently. I think, you know, honoring each other's space is very important, and not taking it personal is good too. Like, I think Talashi and I have gotten a lot better about communicating that we need a little bit of space, and making the other person feel safe within them taking that space too. That's important. It's not just like, hey, I just need to disappear and then that's it. You know, it's, hey, I'm going through something and I just need some space. I'll check back in when I'm kind of through it. That has helped a lot. And I personally had gotten a therapist that specialized in fertility, infertility, maternal health, post and postpartum, and whatever happens, pregnancy and postpartum. That's what I'm trying to say. She's great, okay? I am all about therapy, you know, because like Talasha said earlier, you cannot dump everything on your partner, you know? There are some things that I am going through, like physically, that he just may not understand, just because I'm a woman, or, you know, it's worry, it's, you know, age is kind of reversing backwards, more so for me than him. And sometimes as a woman, only another woman is going to understand that, or only another woman going through IVF is going to understand that. And, you know, you can't expect your family and your friends to always be your venting board, because people have other things going on in their lives too, you know? So I would do therapy like every 2 weeks. And unfortunately, since we moved, I had to find a new therapist because she's not licensed here, but therapy helps me a lot. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, like I mentioned before, for CNY Fertility Clinic. There are also Facebook groups out there for just like people going through IVF, Black women in IVF.
Just put the links in.
I'll put the links down below so that you can, he just couldn't wait to do that. I'll put the links down below so that you can check those out. Even if you're not a patient of CNY, you can join, because I joined before I was even a patient, and I just put like that I'm perspective. I have my consultation coming up. But there are so many great people in those groups that can help you. Like you can vent literally to anybody in there. And sometimes like for infertility, it feels better talking to a stranger sometimes because they don't know you, they don't know, you know, what organizations you're in, but you're all going through the same thing, you know? And that may sound weird, but sometimes it really helps to talk to a stranger who's going through the exact same thing as you, literally the exact same thing. So that helped. Journaling helps. I do have an IVF positivity journal that I got when I first started. I haven't used it quite as much, but I need to because it's guided and it tells you like, how are you feeling today? How is your partner feeling? And it encourages you to keep your relationship healthy as well. I'll have the link down below for you to check that out. That, and then just family and friends, and then also just try to bring some normalcy back to your life. Like, I know that I can go down the rabbit hole of watching everything, YouTube, Facebook, all infertility or all embryo transfer or all things. Like, I've tried to change my mindset and getting to the next phase in terms of positivity. Like, now I like to watch, like, you know, birth stories or, you know, how to sleep train a baby stories, like just to get my mind out of like, you're just stuck in IVF, you're not gonna ever get there. Or just something completely different, you know, like just watching your shows, like give yourself time. Time blocking is very important. Like give yourself time to, okay, I'm going through this. How much time am I gonna let myself go through this? Like before I start feeling like it's not healthy, you know? Find other things to talk to your family and your friends about outside of your fertility because it's a drag sometimes and they don't understand it and they're probably gonna say something wrong. And then you have to give each other a break as a couple too. Like we can't talk about IVF all the time, you know? We took a lot of breaks between our cycles. The first break we took, it was to get ready for our wedding. That was probably like 6 months. And it was nice to have a break from that. I think that helped me prepare for these next cycles. Because since it was the first cycle and, you know, we had a normal embryo that came back, it was kind of devastating. But having our wedding to plan, that helped a lot. If you haven't seen our wedding video, make sure you check that out. I'll link it below. So you got to give yourself a break. You know, you can't just drown in infertility stuff.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I would recommend. All right, our last question is, what tips do you have for someone considering IVF or getting ready to start? Like where would you say they should start? Like think back to our very first consultation to today. Like what would you have done differently or where would you like to start?
Ooh, that's a good one. Get second opinion.
Yeah, that's a
like
great.
Go see
tip.
someone and then go see someone else.
Yeah.
It's very different for men because you know you guys have your gynecologist that you go to all the time. We don't, unfortunately. Like we could talk men's health all day, you know, but we don't have regular, you know, visits for our organs, our sexual organs, and so on and so forth. So we need to be a little bit more, you know, upfront about it and kind of understand what goes on because, you know, we don't know our body as well as most women know their body, so to speak. So that's important to go see somebody, and then go also. What I did is, you know, check your levels, your testosterone levels.
You went to a urologist.
Yeah, I went to a urologist to check, you know, my testosterone levels, like how things were going within my body, just to, you know, make sure, like I said earlier, I'm the best person I can be for this process. And also you have to get your mind ready for it. Educate yourself with as much information as possible. And, you know, there's great resources on YouTube. Don't just Google because, you know, you can find anything to support whatever you want on Google either way. So, you know, get some real clinical study research, you know, take some advice from people who are going through it, but then go back and, you know, do your own research and really kind of understand, you know, what you're going through. Also, I would say 2 things that are super important, or actually 1 thing, the financial aspect. Prepare yourself for it. It's not easy. And then with that also, you know, look into your company and see if they support infertility. We're fortunate that we have companies that do support that, so that really helps cut the cost. But it's important to kind of if we weren't going through this, I would have never known what my company does to support infertility or anything like that. So those are some resources that you can, like, your company may not necessarily say, hey, you pay $40 copay to go to a normal doctor, but we also cover infertility. They don't usually always say that. So, those are places I would start from, before really embarking on this wonderful journey.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I just want to elaborate a little bit about the first point Talashi made, was get a second, third, and fourth opinion, because your impression of IVF is really going to be shaped by the very first doctor that you see. And our first experience was trash. That doctor was so horrible. He didn't even have our right records in front of him. And he just kept saying really negative things about my ovaries, and I just don't like this tube. And he told me that I had a blockage when I didn't, and the lab work showed that I didn't have a blockage. If we weren't strong people and smart people, we probably would have just quit right then. Right. There was no way that I was going to him. So I would say just and then after that we've probably had consultations total with maybe 4 or 5 doctors total.
Right.
So
I have one thing. Sorry. Don't go drinking before you go to a semen analysis.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It'll give you a bad report. You'll have drunk sperm. But I would say, find a good doctor. And when you're looking for a doctor, it has to be someone who makes you feel comfortable and is going to let you be a part of the decision making, not someone who's just going to tell you everything and be rigid and that's it. I would say CNY so far they've been very good about balancing being the authoritative, the subject matter expert, but they also take into consideration, what do you want, that's really important as well.
I think the important part also is be a name and not a number.
Yeah.
You don't want to just necessarily, you're coming through and giving somebody tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And they don't know who you are. They don't know what your body's going through. Mm-hmm. They don't know your story. So it's important to, find that doctor, do the research, and see, there's doctors that are highly, highly rated and highly recommended that they just didn't work for us. So I mean, and then I would say if you're an older woman, and when I say older, I just mean in maternal age. If you're over 40, you really need to make sure that you're with a doctor that specializes in treating women over 40, because it's different. It's definitely different. You're dealing with a much smaller quantity of eggs. So a lot of doctors, unfortunately, will automatically push you to use donor eggs. And I think personally donor eggs is a beautiful thing, but everyone is not mentally there. And some people want to try with their own eggs. So I would say make sure that your doctor specializes in treatment for someone your age too, and that you feel that it's specialized for you, and it's just not the same cookie cutter protocol that everybody gets. Okay. That's what I would recommend. I would say establish your support system early. It might be one friend, it might be no family members. It might be one family member, no friends. It might be strangers. Look into the Facebook groups that I'll drop below. Look into some of the Facebook groups that are out there. It's a really good place to start. And just try to live your life and have fun, and not think about life being over if it doesn't work, because this is the thing with IVF. We're on our 3rd round. We thought it was going to work the first round. Mm-hmm. It might work the first round for you. It does work for plenty of people in the first round. Batteries.
What?
Batteries.
Oh, but everybody doesn't, our battery's about to die, but everyone doesn't work for everybody the first time. So you just need to prepare your mind that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Do you have anything else that you would suggest?
I have one question for you.
Oh.
If you could do anything for speaking about IVF or IVF awareness, what would you do?
Well, our journey has definitely sparked an interest in me in infertility advocacy just across the board. I would love to encourage more women of color to become egg donors, because the pool for women of color is very small. You know, me being the age that I am, of course, is something that I've researched. You know, I research everything. And the pools everywhere is very limited. And women of color are having to wait a lot longer for donor eggs, donor embryos. So I would really like to advocate in some kind of way, whether that's speaking at, you know, schools or, you know, on panels or going to different clinics and helping them like to add some more diversity. It's not just Black women, it's all women of color that are having a hard time finding donor eggs and donor embryos that are, you know, African-American babies, Asian, all different races. So that's probably what I would like to do.
I think that's amazing. Yeah, I think that's something that I would love to see as well, you know, what we've gone through and thinking about different options with donors and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It would be great to see that be a part of the conversation, as well as, you know, men really being able to join the conversation in a positive way and you know, letting them know, like, you know, if it is a male factor thing, that some things are out of your control, whether it, I mean, whatever the factor is, some things are out of your control, and it doesn't take away from who you are as a person or your opportunity to be a parent. There just may be a different route to become a parent. So
yeah, and I would say too, if you're single and you are either dating or in a relationship or thinking about being married, Talashi and I had conversations very early on about what our options would be for family building if we weren't able to conceive naturally. Our first consultation with the fertility clinic, we weren't married yet. I've seen a lot of heartbreaking cases with people where one partner is not open to something, whether that's like a donor egg or donor sperm or adoption or anything like that. Even IVF, some people it's off the table. So I would say before you marry someone or, you know, commit too closely to them, because time is of the essence when you're talking about fertility, don't waste a lot of time with people who are not open-minded, and just make sure you have those conversations early on. Because we both knew that we wanted to be parents, and we knew that, you know, I mean, it took our time to wrap our head around some things, but, you know, we both knew where we stood on family building before we got married. So I would recommend that to you, is to make sure that whoever you're involved with, that you make sure you're on the same page about that.
Right.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. Well, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate your support. Make sure you hit the notification bell and subscribe, and I'll leave links below to a lot of the groups and information that we talked about, but stay tuned. I can't promise you consistency, but I will try to make sure to upload videos more often. You'll probably see videos about other things than just IVF.
Right.
So stay tuned for that as well.
We just got that new camera. There should be some consistency.
I gotta use this camera. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be consistent, I promise. And then, you know, we'll be updating you about our next journey. We are starting round 3 today, actually, for IVF. So more to come on that. We're excited. But yeah, I'll probably try to like combine those videos this time, so it's not like one little video here and there, but
string them along a little bit.
You like the cliffhangers? Well, comment below. Let me know. Do you like the cliffhangers, or do you want everything all at once? I'd like to see what you think. But other than that, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.
So, once again, thank you for watching our channel.
Thank you.
Is it her? Well, it's really her channel. I'm just
it's my channel.
I'm a guest star. You know. My mouth is dry.
Thirsty. Okay. Perfect. What if this wasn't recording?
It's not.
No, it is.
No, it says RAC on it, and plus the light is on.